Excellent. Hello world, Podler team back at it. This is our Sunday session. There we spend tracking the mojo phenomenon specifically in the direct observational method required, where we look at the physiological cues that come off of a person's innate energetic preferences and try to track what they're doing and what it means as far as their qualia category. We are now working heavily with the sample sort program, and it's got all kinds of new stuff all the time, and new samples coming in and new updates. And I will hand over to Ben to let you know what's changed from last time, and then we're going to get into it a bit. I'm excited because I think he's got some developments for like some first gear and second gear stuff that we'll be using today. All right, I am Nai G Coach.
I am Shiny Charlie.
I am Nai G Ben.
Take it away, sir.
All right. So since last time, I've been working on adding different button options. So having the option to not only do mojos, but also be able to do powers as well as energy fields. And there are now 20 different combinations or 20 different options you can choose from. There's a lot of different options for the powers available, and there's 4 for the energy fields. And we also have the mojo design option as we have been using.
Excellent. Wow. Very cool. All right, so we will do what we did last time, which we're going to cycle through a few of the features of the sample server, working it towards a game that eventually we can share with the public and try out, and have a very short abbreviated form of it that we could have as a scientific survey people could take if they're willing to give just a little bit of their time. So that's what we're working towards. For people who have no experience whatsoever, and for people who are very experienced and looking to get their skills to the next level. Okay, so I'll go first. One thing I'm very keen on, since it is going to be something we'll probably lead with, and probably why, for example, Carl Jung and typologists and so forth often focus so much on the subjective-objective field they call introversion, extroversion, is the elongation or compactness of the face is one of the things that tends to be easier for people to be able to pick out first. And that'll be one of the things that we lead with. So I'm excited to try that out. Ben says we have it available. I would like to do, let me see here. Actually, I'd like to just go right to a quiz on this instead of a tour. I'd like to actually do one for subjective, objective, and maybe do like a 32. A sample, please. So I understand this correctly then, Ben, it will automatically give us an equalized amount of different mojos. Is that how it works?
Yes. Yeah, that should be, I mean, if you, if you only have, if you change the career bubble options or something, then it probably wouldn't, but
right.
I think with options that we're using, it should have an equal number.
So for mojo, it would be select all, I think, and then, but you don't want the bottom ones, which is how it becomes preset.
But with the quiz, there's no pending or requested.
Okay, perfect. So. Perfect. All right. So then this should be easy. 32 samples. Sample size. Let's try that.
And if you want to equalize the genders, you can just have male and female if you want.
Yes, that'd be great. Perfect.
Oh, did you change the button layout?
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's actually going to take a little bit to get used to. That makes sense. Okay. So click on that so I can see what it looks like.
Power. Yeah, I just have all the options in there right now.
That's perfect. Okay. So naturally, when it comes on, does it have one pre-picked, like all mojos or mojo design?
Mojo design is the default. I can make something else the default too.
No, that's perfect. Now I was trying to track the logic here. That makes sense. Okay, great. So let's do it then. Perfect. All righty. So, okay. So then we see here the background screen has the top powers are the subjective, bottom powers are objective. Very nice. And then over here, the buttons, objective and subjective. 2 things. I'm wondering, Ben, what is it you're thinking we will do for the end here? Would it be possible, for example, for you to make a like a small circle out of the 4 subjective powers? Like, you know, the image graphic you have, the JPEG of, say, you know, the 4 subjective powers, like just putting the 4 of them together, would that be possible?
Sure, I can do that, but I would think that we'd probably want to create create like what our final piece of artwork for that would be. Would that be exactly what we'd want as far as the artwork?
Probably that's what I'm thinking of, at least unless we have other artistic abilities available. That's something I think we could readily do, you know, make it to where there's like a circle that has within it the 4 powers. I think that would be fairly simple, but would get the point across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like I haven't been doing any photo editing or anything. I don't have any experience with Publisher, but I can probably mock something up that has that. I mean,
or
I have enough photo editing ability. I could probably do something like that.
Okay, so see what you can do, and if not, then maybe Charlene and I can do that in Publisher. But I think something simple, like a circle with the 4 images in there, and then made it into one JPEG.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. The other thing is, I'm thinking probably doesn't matter for the other ones maybe as much until we decide if we're going to use these buttons at different parts of the screen. But perhaps having the subjective button above the objective, so it fits how the background is, because that's how background is. It has the objective powers kind of going up the HUD theme.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Do you want to call it like subjective versus subjective, or like objective versus subjective? We want to keep it so like objective is first when we say it, but when we have the buttons, we want subjective to be on top, I guess.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 different things. I see what you're saying. So I think, yeah, probably in general, go with, you know, if you're writing it, you go with alphabetical, and objective comes up before subjective. But in this case, we're using the math of the HUD screen.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, perfect. All right, I'm excited. Okay, so here we go. All right, so her face looks more full to me, more broad. So I'm going to say objective.
Okay, he has an elongated face, and also the features in his face are narrow set in his face, and looks like hooded eyes. I'm going to say subjective.
She seems to have a fuller face and unhooded eyes, so I'll say objective.
Elongation, subjective.
Interesting. Has big eyes. I'm not sure what I'm seeing here. I think I'm seeing objective. Okay.
Subjective.
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 Objective.
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 Elongation, so subjective.
Objective.
Subjective. Oh no, he's objective.
What do you think? Keep him as A for now. This is me. It looks broad to me, face features, so I would say objective.
Objective.
Subjective.
Yeah, she was a little trickier. Maybe make her a B.
She was a little tricky.
A little broad there.
Actually, no, I went with subjective in my mind, but I was like, that's
A little harder.
a tough one.
You are a B. All right. This is me. That's objective.
Subjective.
Subjective. Yeah, and I guess like certain kinds of quizzing are probably going to be harder than others for different samples.
Right.
Like, but I think like for A samples, generally speaking, holistically, they should be pretty easy.
Yes, exactly. So I agree.
There could be like there could be a case where like a sample like for the most part is really, really easy, but there's like one aspect to them that's difficult that applies specifically to comparing like one energy field.
That's a very good point, and that's another thing I may use as a distinction between A and B. Like B grade is there's enough going on that it is fairly readily seeable, but I like this. But if you broke it down to individual fields, is there one that might be a little confusing? That I think would discredit it as A grade. So A grade, we want like clarity in all the fields. That's
yeah. Good. And it seems like, I guess from what I've been observing, that the there's more, there seems to be more like C's and D's than A's and B's, and more B's than A's. I guess that seems to have like a stratification of like, you know, what's the what sort of media do we really want to show people starting out, and we have very high standards for that.
Yeah.
But then as it goes out, it starts to get to the point where it's like, you know, the C's and D's, we aren't going to be picking from these people to show people first.
Right.
But they are there, and they are valuable because there's so many different you know, different variations in people and so forth.
Exactly, and they'll through the game here with the sample survey, they'll build up like kind of, you know, various games where there's complex stuff later on. But it's not so bad because you've kind of done the stealth thing plus the climbing thing. You've done other components of it and built up. So, for example, like hopefully, I mean, we can't control the data, but as much as we can, when they're learning these things like this, is starting with A samples, that by the time they get to B samples, they already are familiar with, say, a few energy fields or a few powers, and they'll have that to work on to leverage when maybe not every energy field is super distinct. All right, so this guy here looks like broad-faced, full-faced, objective.
Objective?
Subjective.
Subjective.
Objective? Oh, okay. She just had a boxy face.
Yeah, she's a little challenging, but
liquor B. Like, we'll have to have some A samples, but I don't mind being quite, you know, we want to be.
Yeah, and I think similarly, like when we move down to B's, we should think about ones we like, because with the A's, the only other option, well, not only other option, but generally speaking, the only other possibility we're going to go with is to make it a B. But when we get to the B's, we can think about moving B's down to C's, but also B's up to A's.
That's true. So, yeah, that's true. Like I said, I tried to do a good general sort, but you're right. There will be some fine tuning on all directions. All right, cool. Who's up? Is that me? Long elongation, subjective.
Objective.
Man, it's tricky. Objective.
Nice. Cool. That felt really good.
Yeah, that was good.
And we'll get fine tuned to make sure that, you know, it's all A's, but still going through there were the ones that didn't trick at all. It was, you could see compact, elongated. I think that's a good place. I think for a person who had no training, I think that would be something that would be easier to hone in on, because you're not really getting into the interior of the face yet, because there's so much goes on in the interior. You're kind of doing like the framing of that interior, and I think that's a larger form to lock onto.
I'm gonna go with directive versus adaptive.
Ooh, spicy. Let's do it.
Switch back. All right.
Okay, so here, directive adaptive. This will be, I'm thinking probably when we do the game, this might be the second tier that gets opened up. We'll start with subjective, objective, logic versus values, and Jai versus G. But I think this will be probably one of the first ones that gets opened up after that. because it's obviously important, but also I think it's not too hard to see if you have some experience looking at the faces. Anyway, so looking for here is projecting energy forward versus holding space, and also receptiveness of the eyes versus sort of penetrating with the eyes. So here he looks like he's holding ground and his eyes look like they're drinking in. I'm going to say adaptive.
Okay, here his eyes are piercing and he's projecting forward and setting boundaries. I'm going to say directive.
I mean, I know what mojo this guy is, but it looks like, yeah, he's holding ground and his eyes seem fairly receptive. So adaptive.
All right. Those eyes look quite piercing to me. Directive.
Okay. His eyes look looks like he's holding ground. His eyes look perceiving. He's not setting boundaries. Adaptive.
Adaptive.
Let's see here. I believe I'm seeing a strong amount of like a lift that comes from that stem register. So taking it, so I'm going to say adaptive. Nope, I was wrong. Go. Oh, she's tough. I think maybe her would be. She has bright eyes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I see piercing look. Directive.
Yeah, I mean, she has like, she does seem to have a fair amount of like brightness and so forth. A lot of moding. Yeah, I'm gonna guess directive though.
Yeah, it's tricky that those Giallo that it's forward, but it's like amiable forward. I'm like, ah.
Yep.
Nice. Here I'm getting sort of strong gaze. I would say directive. No, not a strong, a pushing gaze.
All right. What I think I'm seeing is more of just a lift, or yeah, a lift from the eyes, and not boundary setting. I would say adaptive.
Yeah, no, I think maybe I'm seeing subjective. So then it's a question of like, is it subjective directive or subjective adaptive? Tricky. I'm gonna say directive.
Yeah, she's tough. It's me. I'm getting the strong cheeks forward, so directive.
Huh. Interesting. I think I'm seeing boundary setting directive. Oh, she's tricky.
She's tricky. I'll make her a B actually. Can you back real quick? Get her name.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be doing a fair amount of cooling. Not sure if those eyes are. He looks like he's probably subjective. So again, is he subjective adaptive or subjective directive? Tower or a hunter? I'm gonna go with directive. Oh man, I was wrong about that.
Yeah, no worries. But I should get a better picture of him. So either B or I need better pics.
Yeah, at first I thought maybe he was like I don't know, Ziny or something.
No, that's good because it's these things that I'm realizing too. You know, I try to get good pictures, and sometimes I just go like an artistic. But now I'm taking that combined with the needs of teaching tool.
Yeah.
And a picture, these both kind of have him. First of all, he's not doing emoting either one bunch, but also he looks like he's being a bit more serious, more gravitas look, and that can be confusing on the directive adaptive front. So one where he's got his eyes a little more lit up would be good. All right, cool. All right, this is a directive.
All right. Adaptive.
Adaptive.
Oh, she's real tricky.
Oh, okay.
We don't get a lot of this. This is good. Adaptive.
Directive.
Adaptive.
Seeing the lift, so adaptive.
Directive. Oh, I thought he was more like a CY.
Yeah, tricky. Also, that I think is one of the areas that we're least familiar with, so that'll build up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually talk more about like you know, emoting or you know, like subjective, objective, and so forth.
Yeah.
And we have a lot more practice, for example, telling apart the knees eye from the zine eye, the kind of the interpretive version of that. You know, we do that a lot, and this is one. You know, like probably most of that comes up is like baseball, which we don't do as much. So, who's up?
Ben?
Yeah, so I think this guy has like this natural state seriousness to him. I think he's directive.
Looks like they're holding ground and the eyes are drinking in, so adaptive.
Okay. She looks adaptive.
Yeah, so natural lift, adaptive, or natural state.
Let's see here. It's got kind of a cool thing about it. I think that's actually cool holding ground, and those eyes are drinking in, so adaptive. No, I was wrong. Ah, it's a Baiju. Yeah, he has, I think, rather flat cheeks, make him a B. Jeremy Stockman. Yeah, I like this. This is good training, I think, for people who are new to get its, scaled down what they have to kind of focus on, but also for advanced people, just focusing on one energy field. Yeah. That's challenging too. I'm enjoying this. It reminds me of kind of being on the mat. You know what I mean? Like taking one area and just like, and you get so much better at the end of training when you can really focus on that one dynamic.
Difference. Adaptive.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I'm doing this, like I get my initial impression as to whether they're directive or adaptive. But then I think about like, are they objective or subjective? Because like oftentimes I'll be simultaneously thinking about like, because sometimes I can get that confused. Like if I'm thinking of the wrong like subjective or objective signal, right. Then that can like changing that to the correct one will change whether they're directive or adaptive. So because like you have like you have like a subjective directive and a subjective adaptive, and if you think they're like directive and objective, but actually they're subjective. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean though. It helps narrow it down if you don't have it. I think that's something else people, as they play the game, they'll start leveraging other energy fields they may know to help get them on certain quizzes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it kind of gives you more of a backing, because if you have like an idea of like, because if you're thinking about like, okay, is this person like a Z-Vi or a V-Zi, and or maybe a Z like a V-Zi or a Vi-Z or something, then oftentimes it does make a difference, the objectives versus subjective. But yeah, I think she's directive.
Yeah, to go back real quick, she's one of those you're talking about of the Z source, where they can have a smile that's kind of broad that might think is like a Cheshire, like a V-Zi, for example, but it's a bit lower in the face as far as how much it radiates out, and that lower lip is more prominent. Cute. All right, this looks, those eyes look penetrating to me. I don't say directive.
It looks directive.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
All right, Ben, your turn.
All right. So do we have logic versus or logic based versus values based?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not sure if that.
that's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna pick that if you didn't. Sweet.
All right, let's do that then.
And this is another one that the trio I think will probably lead beginners with, because seems to be a bigger movement. All right, so we're looking for here is that key movement level in the face above the midline into the cheeks or not. So whether or not it goes in there readily or not. So him, I think I am seeing that. I'm seeing the flexation of the cheeks that says he's values based.
Okay. Her. She looks like a tower. Subjective. I think I'm seeing. I mean, she could be a Ziny, and I'm just mistaking her worm G for body space. But I think she's maybe a Jaibi or something. Body space.
Oh, and the background screen changed too.
Yeah.
Yay, new screen.
Yeah, I'll have to think about, because I think right now it's actually not like, it's like centered, like if you take in consideration the entire width of the page, but in terms of like the area you can see, it's actually showing more of the Jez than the Zs. So
That's a good point.
So I'll probably have to think about the logistics of like having it like if you have the like the sidebar open, that it'll still have like an even amount of each and so forth.
Gotcha. Right. That's good observation. Am I up? It's me.
I think Ben, you're up.
Okay. I think this guy's a Vaishji, so I'm gonna say values based.
All right. I believe those cheeks are going up there. Apple cheek style, so I'll say values based.
They look like two different people. Just pointing it out.
They are. But I'll look into it. But go ahead.
Okay.
Can you go back and get his name?
Yeah.
Sal.
Cool. All right. He looks comfortable neutralizing than say logic based. Oh, boo!
So maybe with him I need a better pick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it Medi? And Natia. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with him, he's kind of holding like, I mean, he definitely is doing a lot of neutralizing in these pictures. In terms of whether he actually is logic-based or not, I'm not sure. I mean, like he could be like, he does look like a directive objective or a pilot to me. So the only other option in that case would be G alpha. I'm not sure. I'm leaning more towards logic-based though, so I'm gonna guess that.
Now he looked. Go back to him real quick though. He's I think a good sample in general, but I'm wondering perhaps since the media is not so great, he should be a B. I'm going B on him.
Yeah, just because the quality of the media is not the cleanest.
Yeah, it seems like a good example of a Xeni though in general. So
yeah,
like I could definitely see like Xeni.
Yep.
All right, so with her, I believe the cheeks are not moving much despite this large smile, so logic-based.
I'm seeing activation in her cheeks. Take it on the right-hand side picture, I'm going to say body space.
Yeah, I feel like with her, you know, maybe I'm seeing like a perception lead mojo. So I'm wondering, like, are the cheeks sheer? I'm guessing they aren't. I think the mowing is going up. I'm not sure though. It's kind of tricky. But I'm gonna guess values based on her. Oh, she's an easy. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the brightness of the smile, but the cheeks aren't really responding in kind.
Mm-hmm.
All All right, so I do believe I am seeing the cheeks move, even on the left when she's not giving that big of a smile. So values-based.
Okay. I don't believe I see emoting in his cheeks. Let's see, logic.
Logic-based.
I should probably go from smiling. But values-based.
Let's say values-based.
I think this guy might be a Nizai or something. I'm gonna say logic-based.
Let's see here. I believe those cheeks are moving, so values-based.
Don't I see a lot around the mouth as far as activation, but I don't see it going much beyond that. I'm gonna say logic. Oh.
So I'll put her at B.
Maybe had she maybe had some work done on her lips or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That and all, yeah, exactly, some collagen action, and the makeup is also quite porcelain style.
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah. So yeah, I think the emoting might not be going into the cheeks here. I'm not sure. Like it seems like a good smile or a strong smile. Like in the picture on the right, like I can see a significant amount of emoting below the lip line and midline there, or possibly below the midline. I guess I don't feel like I'm seeing strong evidence of it going into the cheeks in either picture. So I'm gonna say logic based. Oh, so she's not okay.
What do you think? B on that one? Because I think with her, there might not be any better media, unfortunately. I think she might smile bigger than other ones, but there's not a lot to work with. So, but I'll make her B. All right. Those cheeks look pretty sheer to me, so logic based.
Okay. It looks pretty bracing. Let's see, or or at least logic based. Maybe it looks like an objective logic based mojo. I'm gonna say logic.
Yeah, no, I think he's directive. Trying to think, he might be like a Z mojo, so I'm kind of thinking about that. He has good emoting. I'm wondering, like, is that like a live shy possibly? And I'm thinking like if he is directive, like another option would be that he's a G mojo. So then I guess would that be a good example, or would that actually be, can I see aware mowing and things like that? Not sure. I'm thinking about like the Ni-Z, the Z9, the G9 a lot. But on a hunch, I'm going to guess logic based. Oh, it's a G9. Okay. So.
What do you think, Charlie? Is that good enough for A sample, or should?
If you get like a picture that's a little bit different, because he kind of has a similar expression.
So maybe change pictures. Let's do that. This could sometimes we'll start there and see what it looks like. All right, so
yeah.
shorter, better pictures. All right. Okay, those sheets do not look like they're moving. I'm gonna say logic based.
Okay, I see a lot of emotive activation all the way up the face. I'm gonna say values.
Something else I was thinking too, we might do for this, Ben, is, and this is more sophisticated, obviously, in the future, but giving media different ratings, and they could actually have different kinds of ratings. One is how much they're missed, for example, as a mojo, and then when people are doing mojo quizzes, we can stack it by the rating it gets, putting the harder samples at the end, but then also giving them ratings on their energy fields.
Mm-hmm.
And so, starting with that, like for example, in this one, I could even think like logic-based, advice-based, perhaps when we do the actual game a bit more, where we have like different levels of feats they're doing. Maybe earlier on, this quiz is populated by Jez source and Zez source to make the distinction as just really big as possible, and then later on adding in the tandem ones, and then after that adding in samples that generally are people find more challenging to get. And that would help kind of build easy feat possible and build those easy feats to harder feats.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept, because we could do this like we could have a rating system that's based on that's purely based on the like the first time or maybe not only first time, but basically the success rate of the people taking the quizzes. And I could divide this based on the results that people are getting on the logic-based versus values-based quizzes, the results on adaptive versus directive. And we have the data to do that. I'm recording all of everyone's guesses on all the quizzes. So we could easily like calculate, like a stratification or a ranking for, and then divide them into 4 groups.
I think it'd be very helpful for new students, where every little thing you can do to make it easier is a big deal. That could really help stack them for success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing is we'd probably want it would be the more data we have, like the more quizzes and more people we have taking quizzes, the more useful that would be. So the more useful the data that we're getting from the quizzes would be for determining what would be a good rating.
Right.
But I think even with just a small number of people, that could still be fairly useful, possibly. So.
Yeah, and I think myself, I might be able to hand do that myself in the beginning, not for all the samples, but just like maybe I'm thinking probably I don't think these will all be A's as much as they can be, but like the top 100 samples for each of the gender mojos, like our best 100, and then from that 100, like put them on a scale of 1 to 100 almost, like exactly like an order of difficulty, and then I can maybe do also like for subjective versus objective, like how obvious is it that they're one or the other. Like, so that would take a lot of work, but that might be worthwhile for the beginning portion of the game, which is like a lot of hand holding, a lot of tutorials, and you really want it to be as easy as possible. That might be something I could do when I have the time later on, at least with those that initial that probably the initial 3200 is going to get a ton of use. Most people play the game will go to varying lengths. That'll be the course that like everyone runs, the first thing everyone runs. So really having that dialed in would be good.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good point, because when we have courses that everyone's running, we're going to get a lot of data on the specific quizzes that people are taking, which it makes it more, I guess, controlled and scientific, figuring out like how we should decide like the grades and so forth.
Yeah, definitely, and also like maybe make a system kind of like where you can build your own collages as you go from like the 3200 to the 32,000. That's where they can like when they get successes on quizzes, they earn points, and those points they can kind of purchase which sample they want to be released, and they can do more of their favorites and so forth. But like that first 3200 would be sort of like the staple, the standard course everyone runs. Yeah, make sure like we'll keep playing that, keep playing ourselves. It's that's just like super smooth on pretty much every cross section possible. And I think now that we're getting closer and closer to 32,000, we'll keep going past that. Having a highly curated 3200, I don't think is unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great, with teaching people so forth, knowing that you're showing the game or whatever, and they'll begin playing on that 3200, and probably within that, like 320, and within that 32, and make them as rock solid as possible. And then after that, I think it helps to be a lot more open to people's choices. But that initial load, make sure that everyone's kind of working with the cleanest basic lexicon of samples. All right, is this me? Those cheeks look a little appley to me, especially right there. I want to say values based.
Let's cheeks look share logic based.
Logic based.
Taking a picture on the right, that looks like it's going up there in the cheeks. I'll say values based.
Let's say logic.
I think she's a Xeni, so logic based.
Logic based.
Logic based.
Logic based.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. So who's up? Back to me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I would like to do a quiz for 32 on Zhai versus G. Question on this: do we get all those mojos for this, Ben? Like, do we get Z and Xi mojos?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you select Zhai versus G, you're gonna get every mojo you have selected.
Perfect.
So.
Nice. All right. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the other ones, the energy fields, when they have the 4 powers in there, it'll look very related because it'll be these things, but in small clusters, and it'll build that that kind of visual look. It's like, oh, it's all together. Okay, so for here, we're looking to tell them apart, and the Zhai is going to be on the waiting phase, so it's going to be better at holding ground. It'll often have the mouth in a slack position, and the lower lip tends to get more energy, and also a lot of the lip movements tend to roll inwards as compared to puckering outwards. So to me, I'm seeing lower lip like that left picture, and that open expectancy on the right, so Zhai.
With her, I believe I'm seeing outward projection of her lips, the emotive expression. I believe it's aware. I'm gonna say G.
Yeah, the lips they look aware to me, so I'm gonna say G.
All right. Again, lower lip energy, and like kind of that left one you can see sort of like held open. Even the right, it's a thin parting of the lips, but still kind of expect it's holding ground. Zhai.
Interesting. I don't know. She has kind of a neutral expression in both. I think it may be shy.
Yeah, she had the. You go back real quick here. Another thing kind of related to this is the downturns. She has that on both sides, is a kind of helpful feature with her.
G.
G.
Shy.
Shy.
I believe that is Zhai.
Shy.
Nice. That's one that's really helpful. The Cheshire Cat versus the Z Alpha. Nice. Anyway, she's one that actually I could easily confuse for, like, say, a VZI.
This guy I think is a Z alpha, so I'm gonna say Zhai.
Let's see here, I believe lower lip energy, and on the right she has it kind of held open, but it's not really projecting; it's more holding ground. So Zhai.
Let's say shy. Oh, that's tricky because I thought I was seeing lower lip.
Yeah. What do you think? Should be a B, or should I try to find a better picture? Or
Yeah. I would actually.
say B.
Yeah, B. Could she be an IZ?
That's what I had her originally, but I believe she's kind of like a more serious. Well, but I'll take a look at her. I'll pull it for attention.
I don't know. She kind of looks like Taylor Swift in a way. I'm gonna say G.
Yeah, I think like see like an Izai. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I believe that's expectancy, and it's going downward more, lower lip, Zhai. No, I am wrong. Well, I do wonder if there's a chance she's a IZ. Yeah, I'll pull her actually.
They have been inadvertently found in.
This is great. You know,
Okay, let's say it's projecting outward, aware. She.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks localized, but it looks like it's projecting outward, so I'm gonna say G. Oh, no, it's Jai, actually. Okay.
Tricky. All right, I believe I'm seeing emphasis in that lower lip and also a slight around the corners, that downward swirl. So Jai.
Seeing it come outward, aware, upper lip. She.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's probably like a Vi alpha. So I guess between the Vi Z and the Vi G. I don't know. I mean, like the mouth does look downturned, I guess, physically. I'm not really seeing evidence of upper lip, seeing more of lower lips. I'm gonna say Jai.
All right, so here I think I'm seeing it open in that natural slack position of holding ground, so Jai.
Jai. Oh. Huh. Okay.
What do you think should be?
Yeah, it didn't jump. I don't know. To me, he didn't jump out of the inside.
I thought B.
That looks like a full G smile. I'm gonna say G.
That looks aware to me. It looks like it's held in position. G.
Let's say G.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like probably a gatherer to me, some kind. So I guess the question is, like, am I seeing more of a Cheshire or like more of a unaware quality that's going into the cheeks? I'm gonna guess G. Oh, he is actually, okay.
This is me, G.
Shy?
Yeah, I mean, that looks like an outward G smile, so I'm gonna say G. Oh, it's Jai, okay. It's a very large smile.
Yeah, it is.
Inward. Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. I think that's projecting out to me. I could be wrong. I'm gonna say G. Maybe wrong.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm gonna say G.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, who's up?
I think it's me. All right. Let's see. This will.
What would that do?
Dynamics power? Yeah, it'll just be Z versus G, I think.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So if we have a quiz where actually, yeah, for a mojo that would work. So.
Oh, how about stimulus register?
That's a good one. So yeah, that comes with a lot actually. Okay.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like even when like mathematically, you could technically be thinking about like Nye versus Vi, for example. I think it's helpful to have the quiz be framed as like one over there. So
this one I'm thinking of. I think actually for beginners, it might be good to do just Ni mojos versus V mojos, and then at a higher difficulty.
Yeah, I think that's good and also that adds more meaning behind having Ni versus V, because otherwise you would use the same samples otherwise you just cross apply them. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So is that something we could do to have it for these quadrant ones where like we're doing Ni versus V? It's just going to have the ones that are momentum to start.
I feel like. I mean, we can do it that way. We can also just, because I mean, within the program, it already gives you the option to decide which mojos you want to be in there. So,
okay.
So I don't know. I figure like if we want to do that, we could just, we could just only include the mojos that, we want to have in there.
Okay.
I don't know. I just kind of, I just feel like you know, I want to make it like as flexible as possible. So
that makes sense. Because two things, there's like for ourselves and then also for new people. Because I'm thinking that for the way we'll present it as a game, I'm thinking, like I said, having like kind of like a 2D map that people can kind of travel around and go different places and do the quizzes there. As I'm thinking of having them be like unlocked as feats, you know, small feats or larger feats. And I'm thinking these various feats would be quizzes that we would already have custom made. You know what I mean? So like when they go into the temple of, you know, stimulus register, and they click on the first feat, the first quiz feat, say 16 or 32 or whatever we're going to have it to be, it would actually be only the easiest samples of that, and we'll already have chosen what they are. So that's something you guys don't mind doing a lot of play testing. Because right now we're kind of doing like the general functionality, but then once we have the general functionality, I want to put that into like the map and have the map kind of like a, you know, like a Assassin's Creed or whatever, like open up. You do one, and different locations have certain requirements. And once you've done a quiz in a different area, that actually means like for example, like you do subjective versus objectives a little bit, and you do a little bit of directive versus adaptive. And once you've done that, it opens up telling apart, for example, pilots from hunters. You know what I mean, or something like that. And so it opens up that way. And then as you go there, the quiz that you take would be preset. You know what I mean? Like, so when you go in to do, like, say, for example, we're doing this one, you have to give a little tutorial, you have a short quiz of maybe only 8 samples, and those 8 samples would be only Ni and V mojos that are the clearest ones. So eventually we'll probably want to play test all those feats and then give feedback and, like I said, give individual scores so that we can actually kind of like populate the samples for each one, like ideally. Like I said, and after that, you know, after like the things that we do there that are preset, after about 3,200 samples are released, then we can let them maybe explore the rest of the world a lot more open-ended. But that would ensure that there are no hiccups in those early phases. But we're here, so this is a bit more challenging here because in his case, I believe this is Nye with a small V halo. So I think I'm seeing a V halo.
I mean, do you want to like make one that just has
the... I would, if you don't mind. Just I'm trying in the mindset of beginners. Can we go back and do this again? And we'll actually only select the Ni and V mojos.
Oh, so that would be the adaptives?
Oh, we can do it that way too. Do you have
I mean, there's no. I don't have like a quick select option yet. So
okay, but in future, yeah, we could do that. We just select the adapters for it.
Yeah, once I have that in there, we can do that for sure.
Perfect. All right, cool.
There you go. That should work.
All right. All right, so here the eyes we'll be looking at primarily because it's perceptions distinguishing, and we're looking for, they're both going to be receptive and drinking in. The difference will be, is it more of a diffuse look in the eyes, or is it more laser clear? This looks more diffuse to me, so I'm going to say nay.
Looks more clear-eyed to me, V.
Looks clear to me, so I'm going to say V.
Clear, V.
Okay. Interesting. I think it may be diffuse. No. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zy, we don't have a lot of. They're one of our lowest sample areas, so.
Yeah, this is good because if we include the Nye and the Vi mojos, the directives, then like you might be seeing literal.
Yeah.
And you might be right, but you're actually seeing Vi as opposed to V.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. All right, so here I believe it looks a bit more dreamy to me.
Looks clear-eyed.
And I think we also have the option of only doing, like, if we want to go further, we could only like include the Ni and V alpha if we really want to highlight the difference.
Yeah. Like I said, and when we
but
curate
I think
those
I think that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, I think the towers they have a really strong amount of it though. So either way would be.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point. When we curate, when we actually have like the preset feats that they unlock, like on the map, then probably for this quiz, that's a good idea. We're going to start with the V alpha versus Ni alpha, then Ni mojo versus V mojo, and eventually at an advanced phase, may bring in, you know, just the ones who use it for modulation. But I think it's a good idea, Ben, maybe for the very first quizzes, is actually just make it the alphas to make it as clear as possible.
That makes sense.
Cyril?
Oh, is my turn?
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm seeing clear eyes, so I'm going to say V.
Also, it's true, but it would make the student feel like they're improving more, and they go like, oh, you're looking apart V from me with people whose that signal pops out the most. To go to the towers, for example, and tell apart Ni from V is a little more advanced because there is another signal that's getting into the mix a bit more. You're like, oh, so like it's like makes you feel like you're getting an upgrade, which is what's happening there. All right, those are dreamy to me. Ni.
Okay, clear-eyed V.
I think that's clear eyes, V.
Clear-eyed.
I think clear-eyed. No.
Okay. We don't decide all these things. Keep playing. We'll flesh everything out eventually.
I mean, this guy either is or just riffs off of Spider-Man to me, so I'm gonna say Ni.
It is. Clear eyes V.
Looks diffuse Ni.
Clear V.
I think that might be diffuse.
Diffuse Ni.
Diffuse Ni.
Yes, little things that come into it, and it not to be racial or anything, but it is what it is. His teeth pop out more because of the ethnicity thing. So I'm trying to like just look at the eyes. Okay, I think that's diffuse. I'm saying Ni.
Clear.
V.
V.
Ni.
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 V.
Ni.
Ni.
V.
I think she might be Jivey or something. So I'm gonna say V. Oh, she's Jiny. Okay.
Cool. This feels really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling it. One thing I was thinking too, Ben, as far as kind of working into the way we'll have like the kind of game version that's a bit more preset, is perhaps we can start. It would be possible in this version we're doing here to have like a tab for maybe some preset quizzes that we could experiment with.
Yeah, I can do that. I can add another tab for other stuff. Yeah, and that'd be pretty easy to. Preset quizzes are pretty easy to implement. You'll just have to tell me. I guess depending on how. I guess for preset, do you mean like having like saying specifically like every sample that goes into it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you just send me a list of samples, I should be able to make those.
That'd be cool. Yeah, because I'm thinking I'm sure if we really curate because we're already starting with the A's here and we're getting better at those. But as we get really refined, some people's like logic based or values based, it really pops. So to be able to take the most clear cut ones, that would be great. So yeah, maybe I don't know when I'll get to it, but probably one thing that is really on my mind to start with is the first quiz people will be getting those
Thank you.
The samples for those three things we talked about probably 16 samples total. So yeah, probably 16 sample size quizzes for those 3 fields, and just making the best possible. That'd be cool. Very nice. All right. Who's up? Is it
Ben?
Ben? What do you got for us?
Yeah, so we did directive, adaptive, objective, subjective, logic-based, values-based. Let's do literal interpretive.
And this is what I'm thinking, that in the game, as far as unlocking, might be like a 3rd tier. I think it's one of the ones that is a little more tricky to see. For our last one today, show up our skills. Okay, so what we're looking for here is a dreaminess versus an earthiness, a kind of like otherworldly versus like a groundedness. It's a bit more subtle to pick up, and once you know what you're looking for, it can be one of the ones that pops the most. All right, so with him, the stronger signal like that comes right away for me is like, you know, the elongation, the piercing of the eyes. But if I look past those and go the overall aspect, the gaze looks a little like he's seeing through something, not right at it, which is more dreamy, interpretive.
With him, it looks like, okay, so I see elongation of the face, I see activation of emoting and going into his cheeks. Beyond that, in his eyes, you know, they're drinking in. The quality of it is clear-eyed, and so, and looking literally at the sensory point, I'm going to say literal.
For example, like in the game, the thing you just did there, Charlene, I think it makes sense. So probably like having them opened up the part of the game that was telling apart Vi from Nye and V from Ni would be like sort of like prereqs for this one, because you basically did that. You kind of like were building off that to make your decision. I think that would be natural, and probably maybe even I would use it that way on the tutorial.
Yeah.
Ben?
So yeah, with Justin Bieber, you can see the dreamy signal is stronger than the visceral signal. I mean, he does have a lot of V, but still, I think that the dreamy signal is dominating, is stronger. It's more natural state. So I'm going to say interpretive.
All right. I'm getting kind of like a dreamy, piercing gaze, interpretive.
Dreamy lift, interpretive.
I think that's V. I think as V is one of his momentum powers. Probably V alpha, so I'm going to stay literal.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I'm getting, I think, lift. And I think that's a clear lift, so I want to say literal.
Here, I'm getting piercing. I'm getting see emoting into the cheeks. The eyes, they have a density and a concern that I believe is momentum. I'm going to say it's Vi in literal.
So with him, yeah, I do feel like I'm seeing a lift. And I think it's visceral, so I'm going to say literal.
All right, same thing. I think I'm getting a clear-eyed visceral lift, literal.
Okay, let's see. Her. I think I'm seeing boundary setting. There's some measure of, I think I'm seeing concern and piercing, dense piercing. Let's say literal. Oh, okay.
She be a B, maybe?
With her. What's that?
Her eyes a little hard to tell that they're Nye.
It's a little hard to tell, for me to tell, but
I'll put her
I don't know that that's universal.
What was your name?
Name.
Candy.
Good.
I think she looks like a Vez tower to me, so I'm going to say literal.
I think I'm getting like a piercing concern, literal.
Okay. I think he's more dreamy-eyed. The interpreter. Oh.
He's been updated. A little trickier.
Okay, yeah, he's tricky to me.
I might have guessed like Nialf or something because
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it maybe a B
you got that? You got that? I don't know. I mean, like I guess it does make sense. Picture on the right is kind of tricky because yeah, like the picture on the left, I feel like is a lot easier than the picture on the right. So I don't know. Maybe do you think? What do you think about the picture on the right, Coach? Do you think that would be? Because I feel like maybe that's not as
distinct. Yeah. Okay. Tell me, do I won't change his rating yet. I'm gonna try to get better picks and see
cool.
how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of it's kind of it seems like in general, like pictures where the person is smiling tend to be better than pictures where they're not smiling. I guess because we tend to notice the emoting and how far that's going up as opposed to the non-emoting, the neutralizing. So I guess that's sort of the.
Yeah, I try to get what I can. I try to get one smiling, one not smiling. That's what I tend to go for, but sometimes it's not always the choice.
Yeah,
yeah, also too, exactly. I think perhaps there's ones where he's not smiling, where the vibe would be a bit more notable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll look to improve those. We saying something else, Ben?
Oh yeah, and another thing is like with the G alpha, like oftentimes there's pictures where they're not really smiling, but like there's some distinct emoting like you can see going on despite that. So
yeah, definitely. And for me, like the one on the right, I see like the concern signal is not obvious. You know. All right, who's up?
Okay.
Cool. So I think she's probably a Vi alpha. So I guess literal. I was thinking about the emoting.
I think she might be a Z Vi actually. Can you go backwards? Yeah.
Oh, Z Vi.
Yeah, she has not a Vi, right?
Yeah.
The Vi is strong in Liz.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. That looks to me to be a bit diffuse receptive. So I'm saying interpretive.
That's more clear-eyed. Little. Oh, she's.
G-Night and DJ can hard tell apart. Should you make her B, maybe?
Yeah, I would. Because even she has a very round
face too. Yeah.
She's not projecting energy or boundary setting that.
Yeah. And she is, like you said, it's a bit more round, soft cheek. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, with her, I feel like I'm seeing probably more of a clear eye quality. I'm not sure. She could be a directive or something. So that may not necessarily. I mean, I feel like I'm more confident in 9V than I am in Vibe. I'm not sure. Yeah, because I'm thinking about like the V mojos. Like, does she really look like a V mojo? I'm not sure. Oh, it's tough. I'm gonna guess interpretive.
You're right though. She's a
she is a judge. Yeah, I was worried maybe she was a nice mojo.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. That looks like the Vi alpha. I'm saying literal.
She looks like clear-eyed, literal. No, interesting. Must be the makeup or something.
Yeah. I guess the and I guess for the literal versus interpretive and I guess the initial round will probably want to have the Nez alpha versus Bez alpha.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Yeah, because she almost looks like B to me. But,
what do you think? We should make her B?
One
second then. You did.
Can you take a look at her for Zyv?
You want me to do that? Here, I'll pull it. Right.
Yeah, I think that's Cause I can definitely see what you're saying, Sean. She does.
Yeah, just the eyes have like this gem-like quality.
It looks somewhat diffuse to me. I think maybe it's perhaps the overall way she is behaving and the makeup and the way and styling her hair and everything. It's kind of got a different look than something you see Zaidi doing.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, this way she's doing her hair and the eyeliner and the makeup of the lips, and even the expression she's making, it's something you see Zaidi doing a lot, for example.
Sure.
There might be something to it, which is probably why I should take a look at her to make sure she's not something else.
Is it my turn?
It is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think he's in the alpha, so I'm going to say interpretive.
This looks like need me to, so momentum interpretive.
Okay, this looks like concern, momentum concern liberal.
I think I'm seeing I in, as the stronger signal, so I'm going to say interpretive.
That looks like dreamy lift interpretive.
That looks like concern to me, and dense piercing, so liberal.
That's like kind of diffuse to me, so I'm gonna say interpretive.
I think that's a dreamy pushing with the eyes, interpretive.
Say, I know he's a shiny. That's a dreamy, receptive eyes. Interpretive.
He looks like a. Should I say pilot or directive objective, Coach?
Yeah, I'm still working with this, what the right thing is there, because we were having issues with whether people were like the wording for those.
I mean, I like having like an abbreviation. So I guess we could say DUROBJ. I mean, it sounds a little awkward, but I don't know.
DUROB. We can try that out. So if you guys slip and say the other ones, I think it's okay to transition. So, but they mean the same thing. So
but yeah, so he looks like a DUROB to me, and I think I'm seeing Vi as his worldview. So I'm going to say literal.
All right, I think that is clear receptive. Literal.
That looks like dreamy DUROB. So interpretive.
Ooh, very nice. All right, and it's right at 4, so I think we can probably get 2 reads in maybe. All right, so Charlie, you want to go hunting for that, and Ben, you get us that sharing app?
Yeah, sure thing. I'll get a room open for us.
Great job, guys. And this is very helpful. Just like listening to you guys talk it through was very helpful because it tells me what they're going to be doing too, and that lets me know what the sample will have to be to give them what they need for those purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool having all these different thought processes.
Yeah,
and ultimately that's what we're working on is we want like everyone to be able to see the mojo phenomenon, and basically the more thought that people are putting into this and they're working together, talking to each other about it, the faster and more progress we're going to make. I feel like overall.
Definitely. Yeah. And like also you guys are operating at, give you guys props, such a high level that when you're doing things at your native level, such as like, live reads, you're doing so many things that have a lot of density to them as far as how many layers different comments you may make are saying. So here, it's really cool to actually hear you guys talking about it. And we had to break it down to just powers or fields and like what your brain was doing at how it's like Rolodexing and separating. That's really, really helpful for what, that's what they'll be doing too. And then the program will have to facilitate that process. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Nice.
Nice. I'm going into forums and searching. Let's see. It'll be tough. Okay, some of these are just in a foreign language, so those would be tougher for us. Let's try to go for ones that are more English native speakers, or at least have some English speaking interviews. I think that would be a little better for our live read segment.
Yeah, those are generally better, but you know,
yeah. At some point, we'll have to go there. But I think starting off with the native speakers would be. Yeah,
I actually do have someone we can do tonight if we want to. I don't know whether it be after.
Go ahead. Let's start off with the one that you have.
Okay, yeah, sure thing. So this person's a YouTuber. They run a channel called Domain of Science. I haven't looked too deeply into his media, but it looks like he does have some that we might be able to use. So I'll just bring it up. Actually, let's see here. Okay, here we go. So his YouTube name is Domain of Science. I don't know what his real name is.
Okay.
Now, there's been a bit of conflicting information about their system in the media, and I wanted to find out a little bit more about their system. So I came all the way to Canada to talk to some of the scientists at D-Wave. Which was amazing. Is that true?
Well, we certainly don't think so. We think it's here today. It is true that up until recently, most of the ideas that are required to build a quantum computer were mostly found in basic research labs around the world. But
do you see any pictures?
How long it takes to do something is not actually resources that you expend in trying to achieve it.
Not on Google Images.
Yes.
I think he has some decent quality media on YouTube, though. I could take pictures from.
The best people in the world and give you very clear objectives.
Mathematical model to have. So he doesn't have
based upon
media on Google, but then said that he could
get pictures.
Get pictures, probably.
Yeah.
Looks like the image resolution is pretty good on it. So.
A lot of the energy in this field came from the discovery of.
Also trying to figure out his real name too. That's usually pretty helpful.
Yeah.
If I had his real name, there's a higher chance that we could find images. But if we just type Domain of Science into Google, there's a good chance it'll give us a bunch of other stuff.
Algorithm requires hardware of the sort that's very difficult to build.
Right.
Well, this one's kind of tough because we have one where he's talking more as opposed to doing the interview. Ben, you think we can find one like that?
Yeah, I think maybe I have one. Yeah, okay, I've higher quality footage. I'm not sure how much footage is in this video, but it should be higher quality. Do you want to jump right over to that one?
Yeah, I think if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Today's Back to the Future Day,
that's great.
where Marty McFly came to the future and rode on a hoverboard, and to kind of celebrate that whole thing, this year a bunch of people have unveiled their hoverboard
the things
design.
that are jumping out at me with him is like elongation of his face and like the eyes and the mouth, like with that rectangle that seems more like a subjective mojo. And I think I'm seeing dreaminess.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Subjective dreaming.
Yeah.
And the hoverboard can
he has longer digits. I'm not
sure where this magnetic track goes. Still, it's pretty cool.
I'm sort of leaning towards Xi and Xi mojo. So like or user. So Naiji and Zaini. But I haven't ruled out like Naiji either.
The hoverboard is behaving like another magnet. It's not a regular magnet.
What are you getting?
So you can just get two normal magnets.
Yeah, I'd say he has like it looks like he's doing quite a lot of neutralizing and so forth. His overall presence seems fairly calming to me, so I'm inclined to think that maybe he's a tower. But there are some Naiji that can, especially more academic riffs that can still give off a fairly calming presence, despite the fact that you can still see they have, mowing going to the cheeks and the intensity and so forth. With this person, I'm not sure I'm seeing, like Naiji HSP. I'm not, but I guess that's what I'm looking out for, like in case maybe he is a Ni alpha. Is that, intensity and HSP and so forth.
Electrical currents can flow in the superconductor, and they'll just flow forever. And because electric current is related with magnetic field, whenever you've got a circulating electric current, you have a magnetic field. They're like intrinsically related. It means that
it seems to have long digits.
Got the magnetic track. You've got a lumbar superconductor. It's not magnetic yet, but it's cold. It's behaving like a superconductor. When you bring it down to the track, it actually induces a current in the superconductor that keeps on going forever. And that current generates its own magnetic field, which is equal and opposite to the magnetic field in the track. So then it just sits there and they're repelled. Now, if it was just a regular magnet, it would slip off. But these kind of superconductors, it's called a type 2 superconductor, 2 kinds. The magnetic field not only produces that magnetic field in the superconductor, the magnetic field of the track actually kind of threads through the superconductor and kind of skewers through it, and that keeps it stable on top of the track. And this is called flux pinning. The flux pinning is really important because it means that the hoverboard stays right on top of the track. This magnetic field that threads through the superconductor is stopping it from falling off either side. You can
I'm trying to see if he has brakes
so
in his
moving along the track
movement, like his wrists and his digits.
But it doesn't slide side. And that's by arranging north and south magnetic poles in a certain grid. So that's how it works. So what's the good stuff and the bad stuff in terms of actually a functional hoverboard? So good stuff is it looks pretty cool. And it works pretty well for actually on the track. Some stuff that isn't so good, you need to keep the superconductor cool for this to work. And to do that, you need to keep topping the board up with liquid nitrogen. So keeping it cool is really hard. I'm not sure how much lifetime they get out of one ride on the hoverboard. I'm imagining it's probably not more than a minute. Also, it's super expensive to build all of this stuff. So it's cool that they did it, but it's not something that we're going to do.
Actually, do you mind if I rewind it to the very beginning, Ben? Because
oh yeah, sure thing.
In his intro, he came like he had a lot of emoting, whatever that means. I don't know if it went up to his face or not. So
future and rode on a hoverboard, and to kind of celebrate that whole thing. This year, a bunch of people have
I don't see a lot of emoting.
Design. But how do they work?
His eyes seem fairly bright to me.
Really? Yeah. His eyes seem fairly bright. Yeah, there.
I mean, he definitely has like some sort of like a good amount of shiny baby in general. But I feel like I'm also seeing bright eyes. Not like necessarily the alpha though, but
Mm-hmm.
And like going over.
Yeah, maybe we're like tower. Yeah, I just because sometimes I get caught with like, it being like a Naiji that's just really academic and has Zai. So, yeah, not.
I mean, and I think there are some like science educators on YouTube that are Naiji, but that have that kind of riff.
Right. Do you have any other videos?
Yeah, I have some more media we can look at. Let's see here. Go to channel and then I guess we can try this one. This one is a similar, I guess, format. The other one.
So this week's hoverboard of choice is the Omni hoverboard, a hoverboard that needs to rely on the magnetic track.
Yeah, this one I think they cut away more.
The longest distance traveled by a hoverboard, which is pretty cool. It ran for about 8 years made before that happened. One is the physical size.
Seems like maybe he has tower tunnel.
Run for a lot longer.
I guess just by the sound of his voice.
It's not, you know, I mean, he neutralizes
what you want.
a lot.
Yeah.
How feasible is it that naturally we can kind of try and guess some of this stuff? The basic physical principle at work is you've got a certain weight for profile, which is done by changing the momentum of the air around the rotor. So the force is a change of momentum. So you take a bunch of air that's at rest, you increase the velocity down, a huge amount of air, but you just give it a small bump in velocity. You can see this demonstrates give it a huge increase in velocity. In these two extreme cases, you want to go for the latter case, which is to have really small propellers that just increase the velocity of the air. We actually did a few calculations to find out how fast the air was coming off the Omni hoverboard, and they estimated it to be around volume of 65 cubic meters every second. It's a huge amount. To decrease the size of the board, what you need to do is actually decrease the size of the
I think I'm not, I mean, I think I'm seeing a tower. I think I'm seeing a sign, but
it's roughly 1 to 1.
Because the fingers look like they have a little more like breaking in them, a little less tension, and I haven't seen a lot of emoting in his face. But it could be one of those tricky Naiji, the academic Naiji. So, but that's kind of where I'm leaning to towards the Zaini.
All about energy density. So how would you?
Yeah, I think so. That's the general direction I'm going into.
Are you ready to call it, you think?
Currently,
Yeah, I can give my guess on him.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna guess Zaini on him.
Hello?
Hello? Did we lose
Oh,
you?
yeah, I must have cut out. I'm gonna guess Zaini on him.
Okay, cool. I'm going to say Zaini and then Naiji as backup.
Alrighty. I believe this is a riff that you maybe aren't as familiar with. We're starting to get more familiar with them. I think this is an IZ.
Oh, an IZ. Okay.
I'm centralizing on the speaking.
Okay, so that's what
So
Now,
I guess
when
we're
you
right
said-
about logic based, but
Yeah, I think.
and he does have shiny baby, right? I mean, like
he does.
yeah.
He enjoys his subject. We take a look real quick at his hands. I don't think those were actually cool wizard. They don't actually have as many breaks as you may think, but he has a lot of jive, which is kind of smoothing him.
More batteries on because you're just adding more weight, and so
When he
you would
juts,
end up
the
burning
cheeks are quite
more.
cool in the juts.
So imagine the extreme case where you just cover the hoverboard in batteries, you're never going to get it off the ground. So what you really want is to figure out a way of getting more energy density, so more energy per unit mass on your board.
Also, this is Hunter Hunch he has here.
Yeah, those eyes are dreamy. Like subjective dreamy.
You can look at different materials.
Right.
And specific.
See what you did there? You can look at different materials. That is on the right. When he does
Yeah, like he's not. I guess I didn't really see a lot of like a lot of really strong like intensity from him. But like I do see like the nigh dreaminess now.
he does a little rhythm here. He kind of goes jut, talking. He does it. He goes like.
That makes sense why we were going back and forth
Yeah.
between the Zaini and the Naiji.
Is big and metal and heavy, and so you're not going to be able to fit them onto a hoverboard unless someone designed a super lightweight.
You see here, he's doing a kind of hunched jutting. It's cool.
Lithium ion
Yeah, so it's kind of an in-between between Naiji and Sani. Yeah.
There aren't nearly as many Naiji vloggers, for example, but in this area, they do seem to be pronounced, so it's cool. It's kind of like technical vlogging.
It's also electric cars.
Like cars.
Storage for,
yeah, the sheets didn't move, and actually that came from deep. Go.
Cell phones, which only last a day before they have to be recharged. Moral of the story is, if you want to get super rich, invent a new kind of battery. And for the time being,
yeah. So that's ugly. What's his name?
His YouTube name is Domain of Science. I don't know what his real name is. I can look into possibly what his real name is if I do some research.
Domain of Science.
And I'll take some, like, is this, if I took a screenshot of this video, Coach, do you think that would be good enough media?
Yeah. And if you could find any other one where he's close to the screen, so basically
yeah, for sure. I'll get the highest quality media I can find for him.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's see here. Oh, we've seen her before. Physicist. Okay. You want to try this French physicist?
Sure.
Let's go there. Let's go there.
Let's go there.
In aspect. Aspect is a pretty cool last thing to have. Especially if you're a scientist, like examine the different aspects of the phenomenon. I don't know.
University of Glasgow.
I love his mustache.
Very picturesque.
Yes. To explain in 1 minute, you ask me for 1 minute, but do a comparison between my two photons and two twin brothers. If you look at the colors of the eyes of the two twin brothers, you will find
possibly he has like anvil.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. It looks anvil and it looks like dreamy cunning.
Yeah, I'm getting that general signal too.
Like, I see the lower lip.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, shy, but cool articulation with some shy, intermittent resonations.
Fantastic thing. But then the color of the other brother,
Interesting.
far away, on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, the color of the other, of the eyes of the other brother turn exactly the same as the one you are found here. This is called quantum non-locality. And it is one of the most fantastic.
Oh, he was talking about the phenomenon about like we have a twin brother and his eyes change the aspect in one place, the other brother, twin brother in the other place will also change the aspect. Yeah, that's real.
Whoa, I know that.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Quantum entanglement
contains a lot of information, big amount of information. So if you have several entangled qubits, quantum bits, you find that the amount of information that you have in it is much bigger than if you were using the ordinary bits that we have in our cosmology. And so entanglement allows for massive parallel processing and storing of information. So it's all about huge quantity of information stored into entangled qubits.
All right, let's see some other. Oh, here he's looking face forward at the camera. That'd be good. I think. URL. There we go.
Le GPS, le transistor ou l'Internet LED ASP, physicien de renommée internationale.
Mais un financement qui permette aux chercheurs académiques comme moi de se rapprocher de plus en plus des industriels qui, eux, savent comment transférer les recherches fondamentales vers des produits utilisables par le public.
Est-ce que les Européens sont leaders quand il s'agit de recherche en matière d'optique ou de mécanique quantique?
Alors, si on parle de recherche fondamentale, leader est exagéré, en tout cas, on se trouve dans le peloton de tête. Disons que les Européens jouent dans la Ligue 1, donc on n'est ni second, ni avant, on va dire, les principaux concurrents, qui sont les Américains, et également, par exemple, les Australiens, qui jouent assez bien. Et les Chinois commencent à se rapprocher du peloton de tête dans ce domaine. Alors, en ce qui concerne les applications, il est clair que les Américains ont une tradition qui leur permet de passer, en général, plus vite de la recherche fondamentale aux applications.
Et d'après vous, pourquoi? Est-ce que c'est une question de mentalité? Est-ce que c'est une question de cadre? Est-ce que c'est une question qu'aux États-Unis, les chercheurs qui font de la recherche fondamentale sont plus proches des industries?
Alors, c'est une question difficile. Je peux donner un élément de ce que je connais de ce qui se passe aux États-Unis.
I feel like I'm more confident in the Z and the Xi possibly than the 9 and the Pi. I'm thinking about maybe like the possibly might be a Vi Alpha or something, maybe a Vi Z. But then I'm also thinking about, maybe he is a Xeni or something.
Yeah, to me, I just don't see the concern.
Ils sont faits par les étudiants avec le soutien des professeurs qui souvent au début agissent comme conseillers scientifiques et puis quand ça commence à se développer, ils se retirent doucement, ils laissent les étudiants voler de leurs propres ailes. En Europe, on est un petit peu moins avancé de ce point de vue-là. Et je pense qu'il faut des incitations pour qu'il y ait davantage d'opérations en ce sens.
Et donc aujourd'hui, c'est ce que vous venez de dire aux eurodéputés? Oui,
je viens leur dire, premièrement, il faut nous donner de l'argent car sinon, nous ne jouerons plus en Ligue 1. Hein, nous n'arriverons pas à maintenir la compétition. Et deux, il faut qu'une partie de cet argent serve à nous faire collaborer de plus en plus avec les industriels.
L'Union européenne a un programme cadre de recherche qui est, ma foi, plutôt bien financé. Je ne sais pas si vous trouvez qu'il y a suffisamment d'argent dedans. Est-ce que vous collaborez avec d'autres universités en Europe et dans des pays participants?
Oui, bien sûr, mais qui n'ont pas l'ampleur dont on a besoin aujourd'hui. Il faut savoir qu'aux États-Unis, les sociétés extraordinairement riches comme Microsoft, Google, qui évidemment roulent sous l'argent, nous le savons, ces sociétés investissent massivement auprès des chercheurs universitaires.
Yeah, it does have a broad face, though.
Et qui travaillent aujourd'hui dans les technologies quantiques, il faut des centaines de millions. Des centaines de millions d'euros. On parle d'un flagship qui pourrait monter jusqu'à 1 milliard. Donc, 1 milliard, c'est l'ordre de grandeur. En tout cas, des centaines de millions d'euros, oui, parce qu'il faut voir que dès qu'on vient associer l'industrie, les coûts de développement industriel sont très élevés. Ce ne sont pas les laboratoires académiques qui ont besoin d'1 milliard. Les laboratoires académiques fonctionnent, on va dire, avec quelques dizaines de millions.
Merci beaucoup.
Je vous en prie.
Right. You want to watch another video?
Oh yeah, sure thing.
Let's see when he's younger.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
Different.
Albert Einstein once asked, if a person's
intelligent could endorse either Einstein's position or Bohr's position, and it was just a matter of taste. And then there was the great discovery by John Bell in '65 that it is
I didn't actually recognize him at first. That actually is him. Okay.
At point, you have predictions.
Yeah, that's some.
Which are.
I guess maybe.
If you follow,
I was thinking maybe he might be a hunter or something.
What?
I was thinking maybe he might be a hunter or something.
What is called Bell's inequalities, and if you follow Bohr's position, you have another type of prediction which are in contradiction, in opposition with Bell's inequalities.
To me,
this was a good reason
like
for doing the
he's
experiment.
doing natural jutting and.
In 1982, in Paris, Einstein's thought experiment was put into practice. Bell's inequality.
Everything is equivalent to a single polarizer that you turn from the first direction
I mean, he has
to the second direction. And
like
all this system is equivalent to a single
his,
polarizer that you switch very fast, within a few nanoseconds, from one direction to another direction. This was a trick used for the experiment.
I mean, I guess we have to think about 9Z too as another possible option. Yeah, I guess maybe we have to think about 9Z as another possible option. Because then that could also explain the, you know, if he does have, you know.
But you decide that you don't need any picture. You just write equations, and then everything is okay. And it's quantum mechanics.
But then again, you know, maybe he is a Xenite that just, or something that maybe had a thinner face when he was younger. Yeah. I did think that even when he was older, though, I thought maybe I was seeing like a hunter possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want the last few minutes and just look at some pictures and then make our guesses?
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, because going off of what you're saying, I am wondering, is this could this be like a 9Z or a 5Z? That just... Maybe, you know, looking at the pictures when he's, and videos when he's older, you know, his face is fuller, but...
like I see this interesting, I guess, it almost looks like his eyes are sort of, I mean, does it seem like the discernment, like it's going, I guess, into the eyes, like it's one, I guess, unifield.
Like.
Yeah. Because I feel like I'm seeing Z and Zhai with him. So if he isn't a hunter, I would think probably the Z alpha, maybe Z9.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it looks like one. It looks like unifield, maybe, to me. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do stagger. Like, okay, we're at time. You want to put 40?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it too. Sounds good.
I'm gonna stagger mine. Like, give 1, 2, 3, and hopefully one of those lands. What are your guesses, Ben?
All right. All right. I'm just gonna say Der Prak, Der Serb.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Cool. Let's say Xenai, then Physi, then Nicey.
All right. I would like to have a little more time with this sample, but where I am at is I have narrowed it down, I believe, to Obserb, but I'm leaning towards Nizai.
Oh, it's an Nizai. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
maybe, yeah.
Eyes are pretty bright.
So maybe it's a perception element. Yeah, I was, at last second I was thinking, oh, his eyes kind of look bright.
But that mustache.
But I actually interpret that as maybe that means he has vice. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes the lower lip much more prevalent because you really can't see much what the upper lip is doing.
So, but for now, it'll be pending.
It'll be pending, but that's where I'm currently at. I believe observe, and I'm leaning towards knee eye.
Makes sense. Or makes more sense now.
All right. All right. Nice push there. That was a trickier one. The ones you guys picked from the forums, they tend to be harder samples, but that's good. That's good. You guys are advanced, so hey, have at it. Yeah, definitely. In some of these bubbles, we'll have to give some modifiers for. I think the stem bubble is one of the hardest because they tend to be older, and they also tend to have some mannerisms that are a bit neutral.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, even like say Niji, values-based mojos, and these they tend to have a more neutral way about like they try to minimize affectation, which I'm sure is good as far as coming across as unbiased, for example, in delivering technical information. But for mojo reading, actually, those signals oftentimes are ones that one are looking for. So they tend to be older. They tend to have more of a sort of, I don't say neutralize, use a term, but lack of affectation, like on purpose. And so that kind of flattens things. So you give them a flatter demeanor. And the adaptives, the Nizai and the Zai-Ni, often do a lot of teaching. And so the way they actually articulate can be a bit professorial, and that vibe can come off as directive. So challenging, but good. On this kind of like the expanding how people do it. Those first three things we talked, the trio, and then going out to like other fields like directive adaptive, which is a little more challenging, but still not too bad. And then going further, like interpretive versus literal, can be more challenging. And then we'll open up bubbles. But I think the stem bubble will be one of the later bubbles because of there's very few samples in there, but I would not say are challenging. Like if you like do the ABCD, most of the samples I remember from doing STEM, most of the samples were C's and D's. There are not a lot of A and B samples in the STEM field. Even though like Zai-Ni and Nizai, Niji, Nizi, Zenai, we have plenty of A and B samples of them, but not in that field. In that field, almost all the samples tend to be on the more challenging side of things. All right, learning as we go. Yep. Okay, if there's not anything else, we will do this. Actually, next week, I think we're moving.
Oh, okay.
So we'll
take a rain check.
We'll take a rain check, but then the next one after that, we'll be doing it from Portland.
All right, nice. Look forward to it.
Very cool. But this week, you'll send me maybe some sound ideas that you're looking at, and sure. I'll see if I can't come up with. I'm thinking maybe like to start with maybe like the 32 gender mojos, or at least the maybe 16 interpretives, like the best sample I can think of that has like no energy field that's confusing, nothing at all, and maybe make some like initial things off of that for like total beginners. So anyway, we'll do that and we'll stay in touch.
Sounds good.
Okay,
all
so
right.
I guess we will be.
Hope you both have a great night.
That's right. 2 weeks, Portland. Have a great night.
Good luck. Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Exciting.